report out yesterday, and it's really easy to see that this corn market got some additional support with obviously the biggest news is the U.S. ending stocks getting reduced down to that 1.7 billion bushels. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But as always, keep in mind everything we're talking about in this video is for education and example purposes. Make sure you guys understand, know your own risk tolerance as we go through this information. So corn is well supported. I think that's fair to say. When you look at this ending stocks chart here going back to 2002, we put two lines on here. And really, when you get up into that orange level around 2 billion bushels, that's usually pretty bearish corn prices as far as U.S. ending stocks go. When we get down to that purple level, you kind of get south of 1.5 billion bushels, closer to 1.3. That's typically when you have more of a bullish catalyst here for corn. Here today, sitting at that 1.75, we're kind of sitting in no man's land, and that's where our bias is at. Corn on the front month is likely got some good support underneath it, but it's just not quite bullish enough to really see a breakout move into some new highs. When we take a look at the front month monthly corn chart here, this kind of continues to illustrate our point. Typically what we see going back here into 2012 is corn usually trades between a 350 and 450 range, and then if it really gets a good breakout above that 450, you're looking at more of a $5.50 to $8 range. Again, we just don't spend much time between 450 and 5 when we look at this corn chart. And as we sit here today with this ending stocks number, that's kind of where we're sitting at right now, with front month corn on the March contract bumping up against that 450 level. Here's where your wild card's really going to come from. We had that huge spike in world ending stocks. And this market has started to come down and then chop right around sideways or kind of level off a little bit. We have had a little bit of a reduction in here as these USDA reports have come out through the year. So now the biggest thing is going to be this South America, Brazil second corn crop. That's going to be your wild card. And if they end up having crop issues, that is where you can see this ending stocks number come down and hopefully help corn reach above and break out of that 450 level. So if you're bullish corn, this is what you're betting on, is a weather issue, probably most specifically in Brazil. Lastly, we just wanted to point out here, going back to January, front month corn has really struggled to spend much time above 450. So for our near-term thoughts in here into the midterm, like we said, we probably have some good support somewhere in that 4 to 410 area. But we do think this 450 area will likely continue to hold as resistance, give or take 10 cents. And that's why we like continuing to reward and selling into these rallies, especially as we head more through the winter months and into the spring time frame. Like we said, we can certainly see some volatility here from South America, but if they do come in with a good growing season, all of a sudden we can roll down from this 450 back into the 4 or even lower levels pretty quickly. So at the very least, we like getting maybe some puts in place if you want to stay in the market, but make sure you have a price floor below. So like we said, this USDA report really offers some good support for corn. It's certainly helping stabilize these prices as we start to head into the really the planting season of Brazil's second corn crop, which is kind of that January, February time frame. We would say your front month floor price is probably somewhere in that 4 to 410 region. We got to remember we did see, I think, a 380 price here at one point earlier this year. On the other hand, we're also kind of in no man's land. Like we said, corn really just doesn't spend much time between 450 and 550. So we're either going to raise a good crop here in the U.S. and Brazil and likely see corn hold this 450 zone, give or take a few cents, and trade lower, or we're going to see some major crop production issues and really leap up into that 550 area. So like we said, we really want to continue to reward rallies in here. We do have new crop to sell if we get a much higher move. Typically, we like to plan for an average or normal growing season or weather here in both South America and the U.S. But if you want to bet on a weather rally, you could certainly look at buying calls, or if you want to hold the physical bushels, at least look at getting some puts or maybe some fences in place to kind of keep you in the market. Like we said, the wild card's really going to be that Brazilian corn crop, and their planting season starts to kick off here right around that January, February timeframe. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. As always, please like and subscribe the video. Drop us a comment below, and we certainly appreciate you tuning in.